Welcome, friends! Hello, hello! It's Jackie Janik, and today you are watching Beyond Small Talk. Real women, real conversations, elevating womankind one talk at a time. One talk at a time. Oh my god, I'm tripping over my words today because I'm so excited to have our co-host this week. Her name is Betsy Cox at Betsy Cox Health. Yay, she's on! Because this is our last episode of the season, and I cannot be more grateful and appreciative that, again, for season 2, Betsy is closing out Beyond Small Talk with me. Again, you are watching Beyond Small Talk. My name is Jackie Janik, women's empowerment coach, helping women uncover their purpose and define their own path in the world. And today we're talking about you and your lady parts, number 5. And this is the women's health is so important, and also it's totally for me because she's going to help me during this season of perimenopause. And if you think you are younger, which we have younger viewers on here, hey Betsy!
Hello!
Hello and welcome to Beyond Small Talk!
Thank you, 2021!
Yes! I mean, this is your 5th
Jackie.
time on. Do you know that?
I was unaware of that. It always feels so exciting and like the first time, so it's fun. I love being here.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Not all light, but I'm in Miami and it's very bright here.
I mean, all good. It's not that bright in New York. We get, dark at 4:30, so.
That's rugged.
Oh, well, sip your tea. I got mine too because I got some questions for you, and we're going to go in and talk about. I was just mentioning that I've been in this perimenopause season. It's not always going too well for me. For this past month, I've kind of put myself on a timeout because I'm bitchy. Like, it's just like coming out, and I don't always show up with compassion or love towards others and humanity because it's been on fire particularly this month. And also I want people to know that even if they're younger, this is something that they should think about. We don't talk just perimenopause. We're all about women's health and being proactive at it.
Yes, and the impact hormones have on the body, and the body has on hormonal balance and health throughout your lifetime because they're very susceptible to imbalance in other parts of the body, like the thyroid, like digestive imbalances, impairments, all sorts of things. So, your hormone health will reflect that for sure.
And your hormones start when you're birthed. Like right now, not to TMI, poor little Sophie, but she's 9 and she already got some little underarm hair pits growing. She has little, like my grandfather used to call it mosquito bites. She got little, boobage coming out, and she's 9. And all I think about is like these girls are so young, but that they have. I mean, obviously, there's hormones.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, we could go into that. Some of that is the exposure that we have endogenously, and then exogenously to so much more estrogen in our environment and less ability to detoxify that. So there's a lot of really cool research around how 100 years ago, we actually, our age group, or I'm older than you are, but my age group and your age group is the study group. They have twice as many periods as women did. Women did 100 years ago. That's not that far. That's not that far back. So that's a direct link to how much estrogen we are exposed to in our food supply and chemicals and toxicity. And, estrogen is a very, very potent chemical. It's a hormone in the body, a messenger molecule that helps with messaging around, various and sundry things that the body's trying to do, including have babies. But exogenous estrogen in like toxin laden cleaning products, makeup, all that stuff, that is very, very potent in the body. And that's one of the reasons why girls are starting to menstruate so much earlier.
Oh, which sucks. So you mean women 100 years ago had their periods less than we do today?
They had half as many. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Not only, so we're menstruating longer, we're menstruating earlier. Used to be women 100 years ago started menstruating around 16.
Mm-hmm.
And now, it's as early as 10 is considered normal. not
Which,
abnormal.
yeah, I was 12. I was in the sixth grade, and I completely remember my mom really didn't prep me for it, and she really didn't talk about it at all. She gave me a book that she might listen to this episode. I don't know, but not blowing her up, but I guess she did the best that she could. And she gave me a book that had a big dot on it, like it just had a dot on the front cover,
I've
and
heard about that book.
yeah, it's just a dot. And I don't really remember like all like what it was talking about, but I do remember that the morning that I got my period, I didn't realize that the pad was the thing in the wrapper. So I don't know what the frick I was
Oh,
thinking. I opened the wrapper and used the wrapper and not the pad. And I was like, it's not working. Like, what was wrong with me? So I remember waking up my mom and telling her, I'm not doing this right. And then she helped me with pads. Like,
oh,
yeah, I didn't have much experience with also tampons until I went to college. And my
yeah.
college friends were like, you use pads? Like, no, you need to use a tampon. And that's how I learned to use tampons.
There you go. Well, I think that's a great segue into appreciating the fact that we need to be educating the women that are coming up behind us around what this experience looks like, and that experience being transitioning out of your reproductive years. It's a long road. It gives our bodies enough time to really kind of relax into it, if you will, and really appreciate how much the body is shifting and changing physiologically and biologically for us to be able to thrive after our reproductive years. And I think, at least for me anyway, I didn't really learn anything about this. I didn't know anything about it. And I'm a functional medicine health coach. This is something that I need to be able to understand. It's a very complex issue, but I also need to be able to model this to women. I didn't get it from my mom. She completely denied that she, like when I spoke with her about it, she was like, "Oh, nothing happened. It was fine."
That's what
Like,
my
no.
mom said about menopause too. She's like, "Oh, it was nothing." So she hears me talking about it now and bringing it up, and she's like, "You tell everybody about this, this problem you have." And I said, "Yes. One, I'm not embarrassed by it. Women's body
Yes.
changes. I'm in perimenopause. What does this mean? No one's helping me." Two, you were just saying, "Oh, same thing. Oh, it was fine. It was no big deal. Why are you having so many problems?" I was like, "Probably you did too, but you didn't talk about it."
Yeah, I think that generation did not talk about things like that, and I don't need to scream it loud and proud from every building and rooftop, but I do want to be able to provide a space for women who are struggling, and there are a lot of them. And we get a lot of the media and marketing, what you see in movies, what you see in advertising, is that when women get to this stage, they're no longer relevant.
Mm.
And that really pisses me off, as you know, Jackie. And anytime I get really mad about something, I start to like figure out how to, just freeze there. Oh, I'm
I
frozen.
could. You're frozen, but we can hear you, so that's a good thing.
Okay. Oh, wow. This happened last time too. Okay, so yeah, it's just, I don't think that we're doing enough information based and enough research ourselves around how to navigate this safely and make it less of a traumatic, long experience in our lives. I do want to tell you, I really thought a lot about what to bring today. I know that we have a hard stop at 4:30. So I want to kind of dive right into what the allopathic world will and can do for you, and then on the other side of that, what you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? So when you go to your doctor and you've got really heavy periods, breast tenderness, extreme PMS, depression, fatigue, brain fog, these are all symptoms that you would experience with estrogen and hot flashes with estrogen fluctuation. It's not always low estrogen. Sometimes in aggregate, you're actually high. Your estrogen levels are very high. So if your doctor gives you, without testing you, estrogen because of what he or she believes you are, let's say 47, and you've been experiencing hot flashes, and they may say, oh, well, this is you're low in estrogen, you don't actually know that until you've been tested.
Mm-hmm.
So you always get a comprehensive hormone test before you take any medication, either patch, cream, or pill, bioidentical hormones of any kind. Which if you are going to do hormone therapy, you do want to do bioidentical hormones and non-synthetic. But even stuff that's over the counter, like progestin cream, things like that, that you might apply topically to your arms, to your chest, to your vaginal tissue, you want to be sure to get a comprehensive, that's hard to use, you want a comprehensive hormone test from your physician, either your OBGYN or your primary, and make sure that that test is in the right time of your cycle, that you're not menstruating.
Okay, so you could take that when you're not in your period.
Yeah, so you would take that on, the best time to take it is about 2 weeks out from your period. And I know that women that are in perimenopause, your periods can really become irregular.
Yes.
Yeah. So just a tip for your listeners, when your periods do become irregular, either the type of cycle that you're having, if you're only spotting or you're bleeding really heavily or you bleed longer than you used to or less, and when you start to skip periods, that's really, there are kind of 3 phases of perimenopause. It's a long runway, remember that. It's on average about 5 to 7 years for each individual woman that doesn't have some type of medical intervention that caused her to go into menopause. But so over that 5 to 7 years, you start out in what's called early. You don't really notice any changes in your period, but you are starting to have a drop in progesterone. And when you think that these 3 sex hormones, testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen, and all types of estrogen, E1, E2, and E3, which is what our bodies make, are what keeps everything regulated and in balance. So progesterone naturally balances testosterone and estrogen. And if you're low in progesterone, you can imagine that estrogen is going to start to, in aggregate, test out as dominant, as high. And so that's sort of the middle range of perimenopause, when you start to have some of these really intense PMS, really intense periods, heavy bleeding, breast tenderness, moodiness, maybe some acne or hair, like changes in your skin and hair, headaches, brain fog. This is all sort of systemic of what estrogen dominance looks like. And we can imagine that it's not necessarily that your body's like pumping out more estrogen. That's not what's happening. But it's because over the years prior, in this early stage, we've lost estrogen. It has reduced its output.
Yeah, that's where I am. I am so in that camp.
Yeah. So that's really that is absolutely the hardest part of it. I will share that with, most of the clients that I have worked with. That end stage, when you start to skip periods, you have fewer hot flashes, you are able to sleep better and all that. And so that middle phase is really the shitstorm, if you will. And it's hard. It's hard on women. It does pass. It does get better. But there are a lot of things you can do in the interim to really support yourself and get relief.
But like you said, this could last 5 to 7 years, my middle, this part?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, in entirety. So the whole phase for the average woman. But as we know, Jackie, there are no average women.
Yes, we're not average here.
That's right. So, I wasn't average. I didn't even get to menopause until recently. And I'm 95% of the women that are in, that live long enough to have menopause are done way before I was still going. I guess I would call that a late bloomer. That's my spin on it. But, so there really is no average. But what is common is that middle time for people to be struggling more than the beginning and more than at the end.
Got it.
So in that time, you can bring on, so get some hormone testing. Comprehensive hormone testing is what you would ask for from your doctor.
That's number 1.
Don't do that, do it in the middle of your cycle. So in the 14, when you're typically ovulating, you may or may not be ovulating now. I don't know. It depends on the individual. Your tests will show that.
Hmm.
And that's very helpful if you're going to do any kind of biological, any hormone therapy. You really want that because you just want to be sure that you're not going to make things worse. And I've seen that happen many, many times with my clients. They've gone in, their doctor has been like, oh, you're 47, you're still menstruating, you're having hot flashes, you're definitely low in estrogen. Here's some estrogen cream. And what's actually happened is their symptoms get exponentially worse. They're miserable. It throws the body into all kinds of chaos, even more chaos than you're already in, and it's just not fun.
Yeah, so
this
women really have to advocate for themselves. So I like that you're saying, like, giving us this question to literally ask, because sometimes I've done it before. The doctor takes over your appointments and just assumes so many things about you and either throws that at you or throws medication. And then you go home and you're like, what the heck? Like, what just happened here? Like, how did that just happen? So letting women know that it's okay, you can speak your mind, ask for these things.
Yes.
It is your right to ask and get them.
Absolutely. Yes. And so the time to do that is, you want to time your appointment so that you get your lab referral for that time. So that means you need to start, talking to your physician or the physician's assistant or whoever the manager is in the office, like 4 weeks out, so that you can get that referral. You can get in and get your lab draw first thing in the morning, ladies. And with fasting, that's always almost for 95% of the lab draws that you're going to do, you're going to want to do that first thing in the morning. That's the most accurate look at things. But, just plan ahead. Look at your calendar. Okay, I need to call my doctor's office and request this. Then I need to sync up my lab appointment with, when I'm not menstruating, when I'm in the ovulation stage. And from there, then you want your results through so that you can meet up with your doctor and, take it from there. So that's good to know whether or not you want to use any kind of hormone therapy treatment for yourself. Otherwise, what I thought about bringing to your audience today were a couple of suggestions around adaptogens, and those are natural roots and herbs and things like that we find foraging out in the woods. And adaptogens are like their root. They adapt. They help the body adapt. They don't supplant hormones, so it's not like you're putting in additional hormone.
Right.
What they help the body do is balance hormones on their own. So they're more subtle. They are really effective, and I think the favorites of mine for things like disruptive perimenopausal storms like hot flashes, headaches, heavy periods, stuff like that. And, you and I have talked about chasteberry, which is the trade name Vitex. So that's a great one to take. Others are...
And can I say about Vitex, and you've told me this a while ago, and I've been on it for I think it might be 2 years by now. And I have to say that it really has helped me. And why do I know this? It's because, when you're on some, a medication, or not even a medication, a supplement, a vitamin, etc. And you take it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I feel great. So for some reason you stop because you don't always think oh my God, that's why I feel great, right? So yeah. I've had blips over the past few months, meaning I forgot to take it, I stopped taking 2 and went to 1, blah, blah, blah. And now that you say that, I realize that's why this month has sucked for me. It's because I screwed up my Vitex intake. I completely messed it up. I don't know why. It just happened. Yes. And now I know sometimes you need to have that blip to be oh my God, it works. Right. It is working.
It is really effective for many, many women. And in my field, of course, you want to do no harm, especially in an environment like this where I'm making very broad recommendations to people that I haven't seen their labs. I don't know what their health history is. I haven't worked with them. So, I had to really kind of cherry pick what I thought was going to be the safest options for women. The other adaptogen that I think is very effective and easy to use is ashwagandha, and that helps with anxiety, that helps with sleep. it is just in general a very, very effective kind of calmative, if you will. It helps calm the body down. It helps calm you down if you've got like that racing mind, you can't sleep. And it doesn't interact or interfere with contradict with other medications. So I think that's a great place to add an additional tool. You can take that.
Yeah, I take that one too, and I love it. And now even my husband takes it, and now we have added it to Sophie, my daughter. Her autism doctor, who is also all into holistic approaches, and she's on tons of supplements, so I strongly believe in them. And he's like, why don't you just like add a half of yours? You know, I was like, great idea. And I mean, so we all just, and I think it's wise to look in the brands, and you know, like I don't always go the most expensive, but I don't go the cheapest either. I'm the kind of person that does a bit of research and likes the middle of the road with kind of these things, because you are putting it in your body, you know.
Yeah, and it depends on, you know, what the issues that you particularly have. So I might make one type of recommendation for a person that has constipation. I might go with a really cheap, like an oxalate form of magnesium, because I know that it'll sort of loosen their stool. So, you know, there's all sorts of different things to take into consideration when you're looking for a supplement. You know, something like that I would never give to a person that had a really healthy GI system, or a person that was dealing with IBS-D, because that's going to just blow right through them. But for somebody that's dealing with constipation, this could be really beneficial, you know, so it just really varies. And you know, speak with a practitioner. If you're not sure, you can DM me. You know, I'm happy to answer those questions. I want you to be successful and be able to get some relief. So
For sure.
so ashwagandha is a great one. I think one of the ways that the body can really manage excess estrogen and also detox efficiently and effectively excess estrogen is using some flaxseed. So that would be ground. It has to be ground, otherwise the body can't take it up. It'll just pass straight through. And brown versus gold, I do know that the gold flaxseed has a little bit more antioxidant value to it. You can keep it in the refrigerator once you ground it up, or you can grind it with a spice grinder every day. You don't need a lot. Just start with like a half a teaspoon over your eggs, or in a smoothie, or in a salad. It's got a fairly nutty flavor. It's not unpleasant at all. Some people love it. Some people are like, man, it's okay, you know, whatever. You can also use it in like with a breading, like with a, you know, if you're gonna bread something that's a little bit 1980s, 90s. I don't know if people even do that anymore. I'm so not in that lane, but if you do, no judgment, as you say.
Yeah.
But that's just you can add it to smoothies, that kind of thing. And then the other in the adaptogen family, this is much more potent, and I would not recommend this. This is absolutely not for anybody that's dealing with hypothyroid problems, with any type of thyroid Hashimoto's, suboptimally functioning hypothyroid. So if you've got any suspicions that your thyroid is not, you know, optimized and not acting and behaving properly, absolutely skip this one. But maca root powder is really beneficial in reducing hot flashes. It's one of the stronger adaptogens. So I do think that depending on the individual, and again, this is not the kind of thing, if you have any doubts about thyroid function, just skip this one and go with the others. And then in the vitamin world, the vitamin and mineral world, I think in terms of going upstream, one of the things that I know in my practice is that dealing with very impactful symptoms, there is usually something going on upstream that is out of balance. So maybe it's thyroid, maybe it's, you know, GI, maybe it's gallbladder, liver, hepatic biliary tree clearance, maybe it's genetic. You know, the body's not able to detox the way other people are. You know, we might have a SNP, a genetic SNP that impairs detoxification. That could be. So what I wanted to do was choose and kind of cherry pick a couple of vitamins and supplements that I think are super beneficial
Mm-hmm.
to optimize thyroid function, optimize GI, and just, really benefit the body overall. And those are, if you're not taking a vitamin B complex by now, you should be. Vitamin B helps the whole family. It's a family, and they are synergistic. So you don't want to isolate one out and just take that. I know a lot of women take biotin that's vitamin B2 for hair growth and stuff. I don't think that's a great idea, and you should know that will throw your labs off. So stop taking, if you are taking biotin, stop taking biotin at least 7 days before you have a lab draw, because otherwise it will absolutely make your thyroid numbers completely incorrect, and first of all, and out of range.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, that's a worry that you don't need to have. So that's a little functional medicine practitioner tip right there. But one of the B complexes that I consistently really love and recommend to my clients is a product by Thorne, and that's THORNE. I am not an affiliate. I don't have any skin in the game on this, but in my research, this is just absolutely the top of the line. It's Thorne Basic B Complex. And one of the reasons why I like it is it's very low dose, and you have the most bioavailable forms of vitamin B, methylcobalamin in B12, and then P5P in B6. These are really important forms.
You brought up a good point about saying no biotin 7 days before your labs. Can we continue all of our other vitamin intake and supplements before labs, or do you recommend what
I ask all my clients to stop taking vitamins and supplements with the exception of probiotics or any sort of digestive enzyme. I ask them to take that out of their diet for 7 to 10 days.
Okay.
Before they get their labs, because we want to know how much is their body able to manufacture, how much is their body able to take on board and utilize and get into the cell. Right. The vitamin is great information, and then we know how much we need to supplement with, right?
Right. So it's start with a fresh slate there. Let's go. Your bottom line. Okay, awesome. And then do you have another vitamin, or I do B complex. That's a good one, and I know the brand Thorne, so thank you for recommending that. And again, she's not affiliate; she just really supports it.
Not. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the reasons why I like that brand so much is because with certain forms of B6, which is we become nutrient deficient in B6 when we're on oral birth control. And many medications impair the body's ability to take on B6. That B6 works synergistically with B12 to make serotonin. So anybody that's on SSRIs, this is really important that they take a supplement. But one of the things I really like about this company, I don't like all of the things that they make. So it's not across the board, go with Thorne for everything. That's not how I feel. There is no company that does everything perfectly on every thing, but I researched this a lot, and one of the things that I deal with in my practice is I work with a lot of women that have anxiety, a lot, and so B6 in the wrong form and too much of it can exacerbate that anxiety, and so many women are dealing with panic attacks and anxiety at this time, and some of it is due to these kind of adrenaline rushes that happen, and the body's inability to burn off some of that extra adrenaline.
Right.
That's really a part of the dynamic, along with hot flashes and all sorts of things. So I love that brand for this time of life. If you're really struggling with energy, if you're on an SSRI, absolutely take a B12. In addition to that, you can take that isolated out every other day, every third day, and you will want to go with the methylcobalamin form, not the cyanocobalamin, methylcobalamin.
Yes, Sophie is the exact opposite. Sophie, for her B12, needs the cyanocobalamin.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
So that's Mm-hmm. I actually don't believe that.
Oh, because when she took one that was the methanol in a supplement, she didn't sleep.
Okay, so what she could take is adenosine or a combination. Cyanocobalamin.
Maybe I said it wrong.
No, I do believe you. So she's converting really quickly. That's what that means. So they're giving her cyanocobalamin, which is not as readily available. The body has to do a couple of extra loops and hoops to make it bioavailable, and so it's slowing it down for her. That tells me a lot about her. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big deal for us.
I do believe it.
Yeah, it was
second thought.
Yeah, the B12, that was a big deal for us in a supplement that her doctor, lots of kids with autism do really well with this one thing, and then she didn't sleep for 8 days straight, and I said, okay, there has to be something. And then when we looked closer in it, it was the B12 was methyl something produced, or how it's
that's the best. Yes, methylcobalamin.
And once we changed her to any B12 with the cyan, stopped it all. So it was just so interesting. This is so incredibly helpful. We just do have a bit of a hard stop today.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you. Is there any one last thing that you want to tell us? Oh,
yes.
Your cat.
When you're introducing supplements, herbs, whatever it is, start slowly. Start one at a time. Buy the absolute smallest portion that you can. That's not dosage, that's amount. So if you can buy 25 or 50, buy that. Don't buy the one that's buy two, get the third one free, and it's 1,000 of them, and they're not going to work for you. Or you may not need them 3 months from now. So buy a very low amount, a low count, as low as possible to make sure that it benefits you, and then titrate up really slowly. Titrate up. So half a dose every other day. See how you're doing. See how you're tolerating it. See if everything's, your digestive system's tolerating it. You're not having any kind of headaches or allergic reaction or anything like that. And then, go into every day with a half a dose, and then every other day with a full dose. Just go very, very slowly and introduce one at a time. I gave you several that'll be a really good in your toolbox, but bring them on board slowly, one at a time. Yeah. Otherwise, you just overwhelm the body, and it doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know how to respond.
And then you don't know what's working and what's not, or what you have retained. So it's like, if one thing at a time. I also encourage people to be mindful of, like, how are they feeling? How are their bodies reacting? How is, like, your thought process? Like, start really paying attention, because I've done that before, introducing too many things at one time, just taking too many, and then I'm like, well, what isn't working for me? I've learned that with Sophie. With her and all the supplements, we're at a good pace now, but if we add something, I'm like, wait a minute, think things through. So thank you for that, because we don't want to overwhelm our bodies anymore as women. We got enough going on.
No, and the body's already struggling, and you really don't know, on any given day, like, is it estrogen dominant? Am I having a detox problem? The other tip, Jackie, is clean up your household products, all of the things that you're putting on your body. The Environmental Working Group, EWG, E like Elizabeth, W like water, G like girl, .org. They have a really good resource center for clean products, clean, high-end makeup, like all sorts of stuff, affordable things that you might find in a big box store here, and everything in between. So, they can really help you make good choices so that you're not putting things, toxic estrogen, straight into your bloodstream.
Well, thank you.
Another big one.
And I need that for my beauty products. I've been paying attention ever since you told me that. I've been using some organic tampons and etc. So thank you for those tips. Thank you.
Yeah. Jackie, is this it for us?
This is it. This is it beyond small talk. I'm so appreciative for you, Betsy. I'm sorry that your face is still spinning, but it's just awesome to hear your voice, and I really appreciate you. Thank you.
I appreciate you too, girl. Thank you for everything that you're doing. I love you, and we will talk soon.
Yeah, love you too. And Beyond Small Talk, this is the end of the season, but doesn't mean you can't keep on listening to more Beyond Small Talk. I'm going to start posting, and remember to listen on your favorite pod, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible. We're everywhere. So start listening up on Beyond Small Talk. And if you want to reach out, DM Betsy. If you have a question, she's more than available to help you out, ladies. We want to help and spread the word.
I'm here for. Absolutely. Yeah. Just reach out if you've got any questions at all. I would really prefer to answer them versus have you, just navigate it on your own and not get the help you need.
Yeah, this is a community, ladies, and we're here for each other. You are not alone. Please remember that on your perimenopause journey. Thank you so much.